On yesterday's election, something profound happened, and I want to declare right now, during that final votes that were taking place, I want the city to know I will not concede to the early results. I did not lose the election. Here's the reason why. As being one of the first voters to go in to vote at 7 a.m., there were glitches with the voting machine. My details are as follows. Once I walked up to my registration district and they pulled up my name on the digital computer, they saw my name, I saw it, I signed it, and then pressed done editing. In return, the registrar turned it around and signed her signature. When she signed her signature, 4 different names were printed that was not mine. It was someone else's. It was 4 other voters in the city of Fairfield. When the problem was noted, they began to discuss what was the problem. As I stood there for more than 5 to 10 minutes, they were trying to figure out how to bring the computer back online. Eventually, they swapped the printer with the desk of the registrar desk next, and when they swapped it, I had to re-register at my site. In doing so, my name came up. After that, I received my ballot and I voted. In that process, those 4 different names were then handed over to the registrar at the next table. Now, what she did with it, I don't know, but those voters were not present. As I learned later on that day, other glitches occurred in the same process as the last voter at 7 o'clock p.m. last night. I call that ballot harvesting and manipulation at its best. That's saying to me, and as I'm saying to the candidate, I will not concede, and I did not lose because of the glitches that were experienced throughout the day. And not only glitches at the site, but there were problems receiving absentee ballots from voters of Fairfield. Now, I'm strong in this Constitution because on yesterday, one voter who is 97 years old came out to vote in that election. Can you imagine having your vote so void and discounted? Another voter who was a female was 93 years old. These are citizens of Fairfield who know the value of voting, and then to have it discounted and not having the person who you voted for get credit. My next step is to report this to the Alabama Board of Election so that they can engage in this process, because I don't believe that this is the first time that this city has found itself with ballot harvesting as well as manipulation. Again, I don't intend to concede. I didn't lose the election. I'm open for questions.
Are you hiring any type of attorney or taking on any other legal assistance or aid?
We're moving in that direction as we speak.
So do you think that this was just an issue with the machines, or do you think that this was an act of manipulation?
It was ballot harvesting and manipulation. Now, maybe your viewers may not know what that is, but to be able to take ballots from voters who did not vote and include them into the process of voting, that's harvesting. And if we look at if the Board of Election, they will find today happen in the city of Fairfield.
Have you reached out to the city clerk about some of the glitches you experienced and were told about?
You don't send the problem to the problem. What I mean by that is it came from the city hall. It was allowed to be processed through the the city hall. That's why I'm going to be uh, contacting Alabama Board of Elections and the city secretary of our state.
Which polling place did you vote at that you were having your personal problem?
All of the polling places were consolidated at Fairfield Civic Center. So District 1 through 6, as well as the at-large voting, happened under one roof.
And how many people did you have reaching out to you with these similar issues?
Throughout the day, I had many people who did not vote for me in the general election, but acknowledged that they were doing so that day. That's the first thing. The second thing is that we questioned the number of votes that were won by my opponent. I don't believe all those voting came to that site to vote. And in fact, I'm sure, because I personally witnessed this in real time with my vote. So I'm not telling you what I heard, I'm telling you what I experienced. That when I tried to process my registration with the assistant of a registrar, when I punched my name, 4 different voters came up before mine. And once my process was completed, the registrar that was registering me gave those 4 names to the next registrar sitting at the other table. Something is wrong with that. And our ballot watcher noticed that these glitches were occurring in parts of the day.
I know we've kind of touched on this already, but
Yes.
the line between technical malfunctions of a system and intentional, malicious miscounting of the votes is a pretty fine line to walk. And you seem pretty certain that it was intentionally malicious and not just something that was a technical glitch that could be resolved.
I'm counting on the Secretary of State to validate that. But I'm posing what I witnessed in real time myself. The conclusion will come from the Secretary of State, who will validate this election and determine who's the winner.
And so when it does go to the Secretary of State,
Yes.
say that they determine that there was a malfunctioning issue, would it go to another runoff election, or would they just take the votes from yesterday? Would there have to be another vote?
I'm going to leave that to the state to determine. What I'm bringing to the awareness is that something was seriously wrong with the process all day yesterday. It shouldn't, one glitch, yes, but to have poll watchers witnessing this occur from the first vote to the end vote at 7 o'clock, that's not a coincidence.
Do you know if Fairfield has their own voting ballot boxes, computer systems, or if they borrow the county?
You'll have to ask the city clerk, because these problems are here at the city. Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to talk about, or anything else that you want to say before we go?
Our voters deserved to have the right to vote and the right to express their decision on the future of our city. That was diluted yesterday. And I could say more about this is not the first time, but I know that when I see aging citizens of Fairfield who walked through civil rights and came through segregation, and they have their grandparents, their grandchildren, and other assisted people coming to bring them to the polls, and they get there and cast their vote only to be nullified by a infraction such as this. It's time to take a serious look at how we do elections, not only in this city, but if this is a growing trend, it's in this country. Our people's voices should be respected. Our people's voices should be heard, and the public, the administration, should yield to the voices of the people and not political pundits.
Sir, those ballots that you personally had experience,
Yes.
do you know for sure that they were counted, or do you suspect that they were counted? Can you kind of clarify on that?
The conversation with the registrar that I was standing there at registering, she was surprised that 4 different names popped up and said, why are all these names popping up? And when the delay increased, other assistants came to try to correct that process. In the end, she said, oh, these are District 4 voters. And when she gave them to that registrar, there were no one in that line who could be identified as recipients to receive their ballot. 4 different names, and the process was this. Once your name is printed, the registrar keeps that ticket and then gives you a ballot to go and vote. She handed those to the register to the next table, and there was no one in that line to receive ballots to vote.
What do you think should have happened to those ballots? If they're not going to go to the next registrar, what do you think should have been done?
I don't know. I think that the process should have honored the voters of the city and did things in the right and right way. If this was an isolated case, I don't think I'd be here. But some of the poll watchers witnessed that it was happening not only in my district, but in other districts as well. And then to end the way it began with glitches, that says this was a common theme throughout the election. Thank you. All right. Thank y'all for coming. Stay strong.